Hello and welcome to Fantasy Transfer Tips. Buy, keep and sell for Game Week 13. Here we go. FPL D Unit providing you with all the advice you need ahead of the coming deadline. And remember guys and folks and girls that the deadline is actually on Friday night because Brighton play Southampton at home on Friday Night Football on Sky Sports if you live in the UK, and if you're over in Australia, I am, it's on Optus Sport. So they've got that to recover. And then obviously remember that it's a midweek deadline next week. So there's going to be deadlines coming at you left, right and center. You really need to be across it, and you need to be across the players that you need to be getting. And before we get any further, I just want to talk through some of the tips that you need for Game Week 13. So which players are essential moving over the busy December Christmas period? Well, the first thing they need to be doing is they need to be playing 90 minutes. They have to make sure that they're pretty much not injury prone and they're going to be getting in the team regularly. Because if they're not getting picked, they're not playing 90 minutes, and that's a problem. You don't want injury prone players either, particularly in your budget options, because you do want bench cover because there will be benchings over the Christmas period. So you've got to factor that in. You can't just be chasing players from week to week that for like 1 week plays. You've literally got to be doing a bit of forward planning here, particularly for this busy time of the month, and that's very important. Now, are City players like Haaland, Lewis and Guardiola must-sells? The short answer is no, but there's every reason to believe that you should sell him. Like I've sold Haaland weeks ago. I didn't bring him back in on wildcard last week, and I wasn't tempted to buy any City players, and that's just because of the fact that they're in a horrible run of form. I mean, how can you be 3-0 up in the Champions League against Feyenoord from the Dutch League and then concede 3 goals and draw the game? Like Haaland scored, which is good for his owners, but I wouldn't be recommending anyone based on the performances I've seen over the last 3 weeks. Ever since Ten Hag got sacked, Pep Guardiola's almost taken it on his own back to be like Eric Ten Hag, the bold man. I don't know if maybe it's a bold curse, who knows. Which combination of forwards do you go with and who's best? Now, I don't know who's best. And I was tossing up between Isaac, Jackson, Cunha and João Pedro last week, and I ended up picking Isaac instead of Cunha in my final wildcard draft, even though I had Cunha in my team for the few weeks prior to wildcarding. I just think that the best answer to that is you've got to look long-term. And Cunha's next 5 fixtures we'll delve into very shortly because he is the most transferred in player this game week, are fantastic in the short term. Like the next 5 weeks are brilliant. Then Wolves get that really hard run of games again, and I just don't know if I like having him. And he is definitely outperforming his numbers. He's a bit like Chris Wood, who has been definitely outperforming his numbers all season. So just keep that in mind when I get there. That's my general thoughts on that. Do you need to cover the Arsenal defence, or can you try and make the most of budget defenders and spend big on the forward 8? Well, I've spent big on the forward 8, and I don't have any Arsenal defenders in my team at all. I've got Saka in my team in the midfield, and for the time being, I'm quite happy with it. I've got double Brighton defence instead, which I think it's a little bit more risky because I feel like Arsenal's defensive data is so much better, but hopefully it does pay off. But that's just my personal opinion. I think double Arsenal defence actually looks really good. I just preferred to spend money in my forward line, and look, I'd rather spend 104 million across my team in the forward positions when I know that defenders this season in general haven't been keeping clean sheets. Everyone remembers when they wildcarded in game week 6, like not me, I didn't, and they bought in double Arsenal defence and they didn't even keep a clean sheet until last week, game week 12. So there's no guarantee that they're going to get the clean sheets. Their data is obviously really good, but just keep that in mind. Spending big on the defence, I'm not sure if it's the right play, is my honest answer. Tottenham assets, are they buy, keep, sell, hold? Can we trust them? Can we trust them from week to week? Who actually knows? I don't know. I can't recommend them to anyone really. So in reality, I think you've just got to back in your own judgment, because I tell you what, Ange Ball, it works really well sometimes. Other times it looks pretty damn bad. Let's be honest. So, I think moving forward, that's something you've got to take into account. Will Brennan Johnson get back in the team? Well, that is the $1 million question. Honestly, I actually have no idea. But Kulusevski's definitely in the team. So if he's in the team, I'm more along the lines of thinking that they're not going to change it. They look so good against Manchester City. Why would you change it? Which makes me think that they're going to start with Cunha back on the bench. That's just my personal belief. Oh, sorry, not Cunha. I meant Johnson back on the bench. Well, I'm thinking about Cunha. He's on the top of my head. The fact that I don't have him in my team and I missed out on that 16 points. So there you go. Bit of regret. And then The end of the popular picks in Chris Wood and Brian Mbeumo. Yeah, I think it is coming. Even Bruno Fernandes has only been my team for this will be the second week. He's even probably having his run come to an end very shortly. But Chris Wood, we'll look at him very shortly. But, you know, he's got a great... If you've got him, definitely hold him this week. He's a definite hold against Ipswich Town when they come to play Nottingham Forest. There's a good chance he'll be back in the starting lineup. I wouldn't expect him to start on the bench this week. And I think he can probably give you one last good week. But then from game week 14, it's a see you later, Chris Wood. I don't think he'll start midweek in that game week 14 game. And Nottingham Forest's fixtures from there on in, they get a lot worse. And then lastly, the bargain players from Brighton. Now, I have Van Hecke in my defence because he's been playing the last 6 weeks. I mean, he's got no points over that time and he got nothing last week for me, but he was on my bench last week, so I wasn't really too concerned. This week, though, he will be starting against Southampton at home. So is Bart Verbruggen in my goal. And I've also got João Pedro. So I'm actually tripled up on Brighton, even though I really like the look of Matoma in midfield as a downgrade. But potentially next week, Brian Mbeumo could become Matoma and Jurrien Timber may come in for Van Heck. So then I'd double up on Arsenal, and I'd have an Arsenal defender. I'd cover that, but I'd also still have my 3 Brighton players. And I can afford to do that next week, because I'm not going to be doing a transfer this week. I'm definitely rolling 100% this week. So let's have a look at the team of the week and whether you should be buying any of these players. Now, Flecken, he definitely did super well. The first clean sheet of the season, but you're not going there. Brentford's run is literally ending from a defensive standpoint at the end of this game week. After they played Leicester, it gets horribly bad from there. Wan-Bissaka was amazing, and West Ham are an interesting team. They definitely don't recommend him this week. They've got Arsenal. I believe Arsenal will probably score. And obviously you can see that Emerson's also on the team of the week. I don't believe they're going to keep a clean sheet against Arsenal. But look, moving forward, if West Ham played more like they played against Newcastle and what we've seen at the start of the season, their assets are definitely going to go up in value and in popularity. So that's something to keep in mind. It'll be interesting to see how well they go against Arsenal on the weekend. If this is a good performance, I could be tempted to bring in a Jared Bowen potentially in game week 14. Pedro Porro. Now, look, I'm going to get to him in a little bit. And Madison, I'll talk about him a little bit as well. Issa from Crystal Palace, he's done nothing all season except in this game. He just had one of them worldy games and he got a goal and assist. You're definitely not going there. You are avoiding that for sure. Saka, 100%. I literally wildcarded to bring in Saka last week as my third premium midfielder. So, look, I was very happy with this 13 points on debut. Fantastic. Mo Salah, if you haven't got him, you probably need to get him. If you've got Haaland and you haven't got Salah, you probably need to swap him. It's even worth taking a -4, I think, to do it at this particular point in time. Mo Salah is just outscoring Haaland so badly that you just can't afford to miss that boat, as far as I'm concerned. Enzo Fernandez, he's a great budget option at 4.8 million, I think, 4.9. But that's a wait and see. Chelsea have an amazing run of fixtures, but he's not shown this kind of form before. I know he got an assist in the game before as well prior to the weekend, but I don't know about that. Cunha, fantastic. The next 5 weeks, he's amazing. If you just want to play for the next 5 weeks in the short term, then he is brilliant. I literally got him out on wildcard because I wanted Isaac Jackson and João Pedro, and I feel like even in the short term, unless Jackson gets that yellow card, which who knows when he is going to, he will miss a game, but I can happily wear that because I've literally got 8 forwards in my team that I'm more than happy with playing in any game week. And then João Pedro, obviously, he's been fantastic and he's definitely the best budget forward in the game. He's gone from 5.4 when I brought him in on wildcard. He's already up to 5.6. So you need to be moving quickly if you want to catch him at a decent price before he does continue to rise, and he will continue to rise provided he does not get injured. All right, so on to the top transfers in for the round. Now, Matheus Cunha, he is brilliant. But I'll show you the stats. So his expected goal involvement, or expected goals, is only 0.29 per 90 minutes and 0.21 expected assists per 90 minutes, which is a grand total of 0.5 per 90 minutes. He has been massively overperforming. If we look at the weekend where he got 2 goals and assists, he got 2 goals from 0.77 XG and an assist from 0.05 expected assists. Like, what the hell? The week before, he got a goal from 0.06 expected goals and an assist from 0.42. Like, you get the Brighton game as well, 0.22 expected goals, gets scores. I don't think he can keep that up. Against Aston Villa, he got a goal from 0.03 expected goals. Like, this is insane, these numbers. These numbers are even way better than what Chris Wood was. But I think that Matheus Cunha, he's great. And look, the next 5 weeks, he's definitely going to be getting your points. I think you can hold him all the way up to probably Man United's game, and then I'd probably get rid. Because then the fixture run goes back to what it was at the start of the season. And maybe you bring him back around game week 26. That would be what I would be thinking of doing anyway. Pedro, he is amazing. So there is no reason not to jump here. He's got Southampton, the beautiful Southampton at home fixture this week. I think they'll destroy them from what they just give the balls away. And I feel like Brighton are just going to pounce on their playing out at the back. This could be a massive score. He's even a worthy captain choice. I think if you're making a forward transfer, he's got to be like the run of fixtures is not so good. I mean, if you look at his expected goal numbers, they're way higher than Matheus Cunha. He's 0.42 expected goals per 90 minutes. That's insane for 5.6 mil. Get him in. Saka, again, he's been brilliant. I know he's obviously been a bit of an injury watched a lot of the season, but again, his numbers don't lie. Well, they're actually not as good as João Pedro's, really. 0.27 expected goals, 0.37 expected assists, but that's going to only improve. They have had that hard run of fixtures. Martin Odegaard's back in that team, which makes him a much better player because he loves playing the ball to Saka. And the more Saka gets the ball, the more chances are they're going to be scoring goals. And he's going to be involved. Mo Salah, as I said, 55% ownership. He is going to be overtaking Erling Haaland this week. He's 100% a definite buy. Even though they've got Man City and Newcastle away, I just think the Egyptian king's going to keep on going. Like, he just bobs up and scores a goal and gets 3 bonus points. It's insane how he keeps doing it. His history this season is just unbelievable. Like, yeah, 0.71 expected goals per 90, 0.18 assists per expected 90. Like, insane numbers. Like, he literally scores every week or is an involvement every week. He's blanked once, twice all season. The model of consistency right there. Pedro Porro. Now, I would not be buying him. Now, people are like, I get that they've got Fulham at home. He's not going to be scoring every week. He's not a Guardiola. I'm not sure why so many people own him. I owned him at the start of the season, and I can tell you that I had him for the first game of the season where he got a 9. And obviously he scored. I then had him for the second game of the season when they kept a clean sheet. Then I had the Newcastle game. Then I had the Arsenal game. Then I had the Brentford game where they just kept conceding goals all the time. Man United, I had him for that, and that was his last week. And since then, he's gone 1, 2, 2, 1, 4, 14. He's not going to keep that up. It's not possible. Spurs do not defend well. I can't recommend any Spurs defender. Having owned him myself, it's definitely a void for me. I'm not sure why 214,000 people bought him in. Nicholas Jackson, I love it. I looked at it. Matheus Cunha was the one that actually came Nicholas Jackson. And the reason why is look at that green. There's so much sexy green in there. It's just delicious. Absolutely delicious. The history says he's got a 0.6 expected goal per 90 minutes, 0.05 assists. It's just good numbers. And I'm just very confident in his ability to score goals. And look, he's just there. And Chelsea have a delicious run, and he's going to be playing in those games, and he's going to be scoring goals. Yes, he's going to sit out one game when he gets the yellow card, probably before game week 19. I'm happy with that. If he keeps on getting as many chances and gets as many points as he does at the moment, I'm going to be pretty happy. 72 points, you can't sniff it. James Maddison. Now, this is an interesting one. He has risen in price this game week, and I'm not sure of what I actually believe on here. So Spurs' run isn't the worst. They've obviously got Chelsea at home and Liverpool at home and Arsenal away. That's the 3 hardest fixtures in the next 12 plus weeks. I'm just not sure about him. Like, his expected goals, 0.37 per 90, 0.43 assists per 90. The problem is he has not been playing 90 minutes. The start of the season, he was banging form for pretty much the first 7 weeks. He was playing good minutes, good 4 hauls in 7 games. And then all of a sudden, Kulusevski came inside and then he started playing no minutes. He played a half against West Ham, he got subbed, played 60 minutes against Crystal Palace. Then he didn't play pretty much at all in Aston Villa and Ipswich. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, if he's starting and staying in the team and Kulusevski stays on the right, Brennan Johnson then becomes 100% sell and James Maddison becomes 100% buy. That's the way I read it. I can't be confident giving you advice on that one. Gabriel, yes, great entrance into Arsenal's defence. He scored against Sporting Lisbon FYI with his head yet again. I mean, I did contemplate going with a heavy defender draft. And if you do want to spend money in your defence, I think he's probably the best pick in defence, currently speaking, particularly with Arsenal's run coming up there. It just does look really good. Now, we're only going to do the top 10 for every one. So 8 Nori is the next one. Again, Wolves are still on that fantastic run for the next 5 weeks. He's still walking the early card tightrope. Hopefully he gets it in game week 18 and misses game week 19 because they're not going to do any good there. And then you'll probably look to move out after game week 18 anyway. So if he can go the next 5 weeks without getting the early card, that is what you want. And hopefully against the weaker teams, he can get some attacking returns. He's definitely going to be in my team the next 5 weeks. I've already got him. And then Cole Palmer's number 10. Now, I think he's a buy. Like, people are getting spooked because he's a little bit out of form. He hasn't returned in the last 3 weeks after that Newcastle game where he got a double-figure haul. But he had an expected goal of 0.89 against Leicester. If it wasn't for Madueke, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. He's still a definite 100% buy for me. And look, the run of fixtures is really good. He's going to be playing an Aston Villa team that's coming off the high of playing Juventus in the Champions League midweek, and he's had a full rest. I feel like he can definitely take advantage of that Villa defence, and that's someone that I'd definitely be looking at. Now, lots of people, I'm just going to quickly talk on Isaac here. Nottingham Forest defenders, yes, they've got a good game this week against Ipswich, but they've got nothing after that, so just please avoid. Isaac, he obviously came into my team, and look, he's going to be on my bench this week because I literally don't know who else to play because I've got the 5-man midfield of Mbeumo, Palmer, Salah, Saka, and Fernandes, and they've all got delicious fixtures. And João Pedro's got Southampton at home, and then Isaac's got Crystal Palace away, and Nicholas Jackson's playing Aston Villa. And I'm backing in Cole Palmer to do the same thing. I'm backing in Cole Palmer, Nicholas Jackson's going to be involved. So in my mind, I'm thinking Isaac is going to be the unlucky one that misses out and probably drops a double pointer on me. So yeah, look, he's definitely a buy. That's the reason why I bought him is because the run of fixtures after Liverpool at home and 14 is amazing. And I just didn't want to have to wait just to transfer to bring him in. Now, onto the sold players this game week. Haaland, yes, sell, 100%. 500,000 people have sold him. That's an insane amount of number. 56.4% ownership now. He's dropping significantly and he's dropping super fast. Luis Diaz, I'm still not sure why people still got him. The writing has been on the wall for him for a long time. I know Liverpool's run's not too bad, but you just can't guarantee he's going to start every week. Raul Jimenez, Fulham's run from here becomes quite a bit harder through to like game week 19. And with João Pedro costing 5.6, it's such an easy swap. That's where everyone's going. It makes perfect sense. Semenyo, I'd be holding. I wouldn't be selling if I had him. Look, I know it's frustrating that he's missing the Wolves game because that could have been some good points. And then obviously he's playing Spurs the week after. But then from 15 through to 20, he's going to be getting your points. So I would not be selling. If he's just your budget enabler in the midfield, you just don't play him this week and you play someone else. He's definitely not a sell. Guardiola, I can see why people are selling him. City just don't keep clean sheets. And they've got Liverpool up next, and Gabriel is a very similar price. It's very easy to transfer. It makes a lot of sense. But again, just keep in mind his numbers from attacking sense are actually pretty decent. So I wouldn't be surprised if he got you an attacking return, even if he's not getting a clean sheet. Alexander-Arnold, probably going to be back. But again, he just costs so much money, and there's so many other better options in defence. So for me, that's a pretty easy sell. Smith Rowe, again, if you can try and hold him, I don't think you try and move him. It's a bit of a waste of a transfer if you're just wasting one transfer to swap to someone else of similar budget. Unless you're like dropping it down to like an Ahmad from Man United. I wouldn't mind that. If that was the case, then I'd be selling because that's going to give you a bit of money and then order to upgrade another position in your team. So that's definitely doable. Welbeck, again, I feel like a lot of people probably missed the boat last week when João Pedro was going and rise and then Welbeck was going up. I was like, why are you bringing in Welbeck for like a 0.6 more when you can just have João Pedro? And I think that was quite evident there. So, but I wouldn't be selling him because Brighton's run's amazing and Welbeck's going to be getting points. Chris Wood, as I said, his run of fixtures, if you can hold him for this week, brilliant. But then definitely sell. The next 5 weeks, he's probably not going to get any points. Or if he does, it's going to be very few. He may not even play midweek against Man City. So, look, keep that in mind. You could look at him again from game week 19 onwards. But I don't really like the Nottingham Forest run from now on for the rest of the season. So that's just my personal opinion. He served me well. He made me 0.3 million. I had him from 6 mil all the way up to 6.6 and I got rid of the highest point that he has been worth. Palmer, again, lots of people getting spooked. You don't need to be getting spooked. The dude is going to deliver He is Cole Palmer. He is cold, and he's going to make you all feel very cold when he drops a big score on you. Definitely hold. Brian Bloomer, you hold for one more week, I think, and then I'd be quite happy to move him on. He's definitely in the firing line for me next week. Look, people say that Brentford's run from an attacking spectrum is not that bad with these fixtures. I disagree. I think it is, and I don't think they've got enough quality to actually hurt most of these teams. That's just my personal opinion. And they don't travel away well from home. So Villa, Chelsea, Brighton, I don't see them doing well. Maybe in the home games they score some goals, especially against Newcastle in 15, but I'm not sure. You hold him for this week though, and then sell in game week 14. And then Rodgers, I think he's a hold, but again, you're just wasting your transfers sideways trading. Unless you're upgrading him significantly to like a Saka or something like that, then yes, like that's what I did in my team. He became Saka on wildcard. He did come Saka on wildcard. Same with McNeil. The Everton run is over. I mean, if you've got any Everton assets at all, you probably just want to sell them. Really, they haven't got a good run of fixtures until game week 24, really. So, again, I can't really recommend anything else other than that. Lewis, as I said, he's probably a sell. There's other better 4.5 million midfielders. And Havertz, this is an interesting one. He obviously benched last game week against Nottingham Forest, but he did score in the Champions League against Sporting Lisbon. Maybe they just didn't want to play him in back-to-back games. I'm not sure. But look, the run of fixtures for Arsenal is good. And if he's playing up front with Odegaard and Saka and they're providing with him with chances, he's going to deliver. So for me, if you've got him, I'd be holding. Unless you're like dropping it down to João Pedro to upgrade somewhere else, then it's a hold. All right, and with that being said, that is the end of transfer tips for this game week. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully it's been helpful. There's no need to chase points that have already been. Remember that is the case. And look, the deadlines are coming thick and fast the next couple of weeks. So make sure you're all over it. Make sure over the price changes as well. And if you've made it through to the end here, please press the subscribe button. That'll help me out so much. I really want to grow the channel. And please make sure you like the video before you leave as well. And hopefully you've enjoyed that if you've been listening along on audio in Spotify and Apple Music and all the other bits and pieces. That's been the D Unit. That's been Transfer Tips. See you tomorrow for team selection and final thoughts.